Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you being here. It was a good weekend. Coaches got a chance to get out on the road, to go recruit, be able to evaluate, be within the state and the region. I thought that went really well. Also was able to give our guys, a handful of days off. Came back to work yesterday. Everybody was moving in really good spirits. I thought we had a good Sunday practice. A lot of energy, focus. We talked as a team about the opportunity for us to continue to improve, to continue to build upon the lessons that have been learned throughout the course of the season, and opportunity that's here ahead. And as we jump into the back half of the season, it was the bye week hit at a good time for us. We had some guys that were banged up. So we've had guys that have played a lot of snaps this year. It was good to see them moving around in good spirits and bodies feeling a little bit better. A couple of guys we'll be able to see as the week progresses their availability for Saturday. But a lot of excitement within our team and among our coaches and just throughout the program. It's an opportunity for us to continue to grow, continue to get better. We've had like I said earlier, a lot of opportunities to learn from experiences, and the intensity, the purpose, the passion of how we go to work throughout the course of practice and the game week is something that we got to continue to build upon. And I think our guys have that sense of urgency about them, and you're really looking forward to a great weekend prep and an opportunity to be here at home for homecoming and all the things that go with that here on Saturday with an early kickoff. So really looking forward to the week.
We'll go to Ira on your right.
I know you said that you guys are always evaluating what you do from week to week, but when you have an open week, do you get more time to evaluate what you did in the first half of the season? And was there, and you don't have to obviously give us details, but did you see anything that maybe you hadn't realized during the course?
Yeah, it's been, there's been a lot of self-evaluation throughout the course of the season each week, and that happens, with times that you have success, and then also probably more magnified in the times of coming up short or failures. And so we took it as a big picture overview of where we are halfway through the season, but there's been a lot of that work that I think we've done a good job as a staff, and I see us getting better week in and week out in these last 2.5 games. I like the growth that I'm seeing. I like the steps that we're taking. I think putting our guys in a best position for who they are and what we can do at what I think is a high level. We got to continue to grow and be consistent in that. But I like the direction that we're heading. And but obviously in any bye week you get to go and take a big picture viewpoint of that. And we were able to get that done. But I think we're moving in the right direction in what we're asking our guys to do.
We'll come over to the left for Jerry.
UMass is 1-5. In your evaluation of them, what can you tell us about them? What do they do well, and what?
Yeah, I mean it's a team that's multiple in what they do. Coming off their first win, we were here. They had just had a bye week, just like us. They're multiple defensively. They're gonna show a mix of everything. 3 down, 4 down fronts. Pressures. Trying to keep you off balance. Same in special teams offensively. They're a team that can run the football. They've done a nice job with that. They're continuing to grow in their efficiency in the passing game. They do want to be able to push the ball down the field. For us, we got to find a way to disrupt the quarterback. They've done a pretty solid job of protecting their quarterbacks. Throughout the course of the year, it's a disciplined football team. They're not. They do a nice job of not putting themselves in behind the chains. They're limited in the number of penalties that they get. For us, it's truly just going out there and playing our game. And this is a team that they're coming off of their first victory. We've been able to get our first couple of victories the last few weeks. So it's two teams that are trying to continue to build and grow in what we do. And our focus, just like it's been throughout the first half of the season, is truly on us. And they're going to be multiple in how they try to attack and what they try to do. We got to be able to trust our eyes. We got to be able to trust our rules and responsibilities, regardless of the concepts that we're seeing in any of the phases. And if we can do that, I think it provides an opportunity for us to continue to improve.
All right, we'll stay over there for Bob.
Hey, Coach, last week during the bye week, you mentioned that you used some time to evaluate younger guys or guys who hadn't gotten very many reps. I'm just curious, offense, defense, special teams, maybe can you elaborate on a few guys who maybe turn your heads and may get some more playing time as the second half goes about?
Yeah, for us it was, a good mix of young guys that maybe haven't gotten an opportunity, but also guys that maybe, I know a guy like Ja'Kai Douglas, who's, had some positive plays here in the early part of the season, but really giving him a bigger load there at the running back spot, and to kind of see his confidence level continue to grow. I thought it was good in that respects. They're on the offensive line. I thought it was good to see guys like Lloyd Willis, Zane Herring, Rod Orr, just kind of get those guys working. Bryson Estes, just really kind of seeing where those guys are at. And for the young true freshmen, they look like true freshmen at times, but you start to see the confidence in what we're asking them to do and understanding the fundamentals, trying to apply that in more team settings. I thought that was good. And it wasn't just last week. Like I mentioned, we do this every Sunday night. We try to help those guys along in their developmental process by getting some individual work, and I thought those guys did a nice job. Josh Farmer, who's now playing more for us and put himself in a rotation, but seeing him really get out there and get some quality work. I like the growth and development I'm seeing from Patrick Payton. I think he's a guy that he's already gained, I think, close to 30 pounds since he's been here. You could see his confidence in how to play. Still learning some things fundamentally, and he's as a true freshman that missed some time in camp. You kind of hit a little bit of a wall there, but really seeing him take some positive steps. Along as George Wilson, is another guy that we're pushing. I like the explosiveness and things that I see from him. I think as you sit there and you go through the full roster, there's a lot of guys that put themselves in a position to be able to help this team. Marion Cooper is a guy that has played more and really going to be probably more in the rotation than what he was, but it was still a great opportunity to get him back after missing the last game, get him some extra work, and him, Hunter Washington, Shaheem Brown, those guys are all very encouraged with what I'm seeing from them in their development. So all in all, it was a really good week for us. I thought it was the rest needed, for the guys that played a lot of snaps was good, but also the opportunity for the younger guys to showcase the areas that they're developing, and then also some areas that they need to continue to grow in was big for our staff.
All right, front row on your right for Kurt.
Jordan wouldn't admit to it, but he's played really well the last two games, while maybe not quite being 100%. I guess, how big was the bye week, do you think, for him, with him kind of, establishing himself as the guy going forward now?
Yeah, he's, I thought he came out of the North Carolina game as good as he has, really probably for any game, in the last couple of years. And so, a lot of confidence, just in how he played, how he took care of his, body in that game, the continued work that he's trying to do, just to, I think you're seeing a very efficient version of him and how he's operating the offense. He completed his last 11 passes in the North Carolina game, and seeing that carry over into last week's practice. And I thought he looked good yesterday, and what all we asked him to do. But you see the confidence really building, and we need him to play at a high level, and just not only with what he's doing there with his legs and managing the offense, but just the continued efficiency there in the passing game. I thought the explosiveness that showed up by being able to push the ball down the field is something that this offense needs, and that's coupled with the receivers, the protection that he's getting, and then obviously him putting the ball where it needs to be. But that's something that if we can continue that, I think it brings a great dynamic to what we want to do.
All right, we'll stay over there for Ira.
I actually had two recruiting questions. One was, you spoke a couple weeks ago that you felt like the committed players, at least, saw the vision. What do you think these last 2 weeks have done in conversations you've had with recruits, maybe even the non-committed ones, just to see some success on the field? And then the other one is, what's your approach with committed prospects who want to take business to other schools? Do you discourage that? Do you mind?
Yeah, So the first part of the question, I think they see the progress. They see I talk a lot, even going into this season, you always know there's going to be challenges, there's going to be obstacles that are going to show up. It might be in the course of the game, it might be throughout the course of the season, and how results you might vary. But I want recruits, I want fans, I want everybody to see the response, because I think that's critical. I think it speaks to the DNA of the program and who you are, what you're about. We're looking for a certain type of young man to come in here and help this program as we're continuing to grow and build. And so when they see that mindset, they see the culture within the team currently, and how the guys are fighting, how they're growing, how they're developing. That's big, and that's a part of what we want to be able to put on display. It's one of the things that we talk about within our current roster now. Is just that everything needs to be trending in that direction, and I think that's one of the things that has been good for the message, not only to guys that are committed, but to people that we're recruiting for this year's class, next year's class, and future classes. It was great to be able to get out into the high schools and to be able to have those conversations with coaches and just their perspective of the program and where it is. Because everybody has this experience. Whether you're coaching high school, Little League football, NFL. I mean, there's going to be those times where you have to go through, whether it's through a transition or whether it's as you're growing, as a program. Those experiences are so critical, and people have all been through them, and the direction of the program and how kids respond to that is what really kind of sets you in position to take those steps. And so just the positive feedback that we're getting from the coaches within the state, I'm grateful for them for all the time that they took there towards the back half of the week. It was impressive to see, and I'm excited about the direction of how we're being received by recruits in regards to that. And then for us, when it comes to visits and all those things, I think every situation is unique to itself. There's been guys that have been committed that are very firm in that commitment, and they, whether it's an experience or for a reason, they go and you look at things, whether it's official, unofficial. The communication is the biggest piece with me, and that's something that there's been times in the past where there's been guys that have committed and don't communicate very well, and all of a sudden you see or hear that there's a visit, that's where when there's a communication breakdown, that's where concern really jumps in. But there's a lot of times that I encourage. I know the opportunity that's here for them, and when they get the chance to go see other places and to just kind of validate why Florida State is the best fit for them. That's sometimes a real positive for us. And so just the communication piece of it is the biggest thing I look for.
We'll come back over here to Jerry.
With COVID, I'm staying on the recruiting topic. With COVID, you weren't able to go out and recruit very much until this week. This week was one of your first weeks being able to really go out and visit high school coaches. How extensively, elaborating on what you opened with, how extensively were you able to get around the region?
And we hit pretty good. It was from Wednesday afternoon. I was on a plane and got a chance to see see a practice, see a game. I was at a game Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Sometimes some of those nights, multiple games, and so hitting schools throughout the state. It's important to me that we have that presence, and you look since I've had the job. Really, you had the one contact period for about 20 days. Was the only time that I was able to get out and really be in the state, and we tried to even maximize since September 1st hit in the evaluation period. We had all of our coaches out in the region. There the Friday before the Notre Dame game. Been able to hit a couple. Just throughout the season. But obviously the bye week was a big week for us, and so we're trying to maximize every day that we have. And it's all about building those relationships, sharing the vision. And that's where we're being very well received throughout the state. And I'm grateful for the coaches for giving us an opportunity. It's like I said in my opening press conference. Everybody's going to talk about coming in and recruiting the state and the priority and the importance of that. It's our job to show it. And there's there's not been we're not missing opportunities to get out every chance that we can. We're trying to put in the work, spending the time, you're building those relationships, and I think it's something that is that's been well received, and I'm just grateful for the coaches in this state and within the region for how they've accepted and given us that opportunity.
All right, next will be Don in the back.
Coach, as we get into the second half of the season, what's the biggest point of growth you've seen with your team, and what are you looking to expand upon with momentum or your goals for the second half of the season with UMass and then the second part of the ACC schedule?
I think we're becoming a more disciplined team, and just a consistency of how we're operating. Really, the last 2.5 games, I think you see there have been less of the missed assignments or mental errors. You see the last 3 games, the reduction in penalties that we're having. The last game that we just played, we were 100% ball security. Didn't have any turnovers in that game. And as you start playing that complementary football, putting yourselves in a position to be successful offensive, defensively, and in special teams. I mean, it starts to gel and come together. And really from the second half of the Louisville game, to the last two contests, I think we're seeing some great strides, and it really comes down to the work of the student athletes, the continued buy-in, the investment in what we're asking them to do. And even as we talked last night, you go back in that North Carolina game, and even though there was a lot of positives that showed up, and what allowed us to win the game going on the road, there's still a lot of areas of growth that we can, and experiences that we had that we can improve and continue to get better. And so that mindset is critical. It's something that will always be some quality that we're going to have to build upon. But I'm excited about the direction and the response that I'm seeing from our team and how they operate.
Next will be Austin in the last table on the right.
Hey, Coach. I know you don't want to look past UMass, but with Florida, Miami, and Clemson, here in the last 6, how excited is the entire team to, take part in these, big rivalry games, and especially yourself after last year?
I can promise you, we're not going to look past anybody, and that's my focus is 100% on our football team, where we are, and this week. And you see a schedule at the beginning of the year. The great games that we get to play. It's why you come to Florida State. It's exciting about the opportunity. But the thing that I believe that we've all learned is that you've got to maximize the one that's in front of you. We are still a very young football team. We're a football team that every day matters, every practice matters. As we have continued to embrace that, and as we've applied that, throughout the course of the season, you see us playing better. There's been examples that have showed up that throughout this year that they were life lessons, and it is and I know I shared that throughout press conferences throughout this year, and you can't take the pain of some of the things that we experienced early in the year and let that go to waste. You have to build upon it. You learn those lessons, and every day you got to come here and you got to go to work and just all your focus, all your effort on the job that's at hand. If you get caught up looking at what's ahead, you'll be disappointed in the moment, and that's our sole focus. And yes, we're excited about the back half of the season. The only way that we're going to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish is we can do it today, and that's going to be our focus.
All right, we'll stay back there for Aslan.
Coach, going into North Carolina, Jarian's a guy that you guys challenged individually to kind of rise up his level of play, and he did so against North Carolina. How satisfying is it when you're able to kind of identify that in a player and push them? And is it one of those things where you thought you just needed kind of a little push, or was it like, hey, we really need a big jump out of here to be where we want to be?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's not just him, but really that defensive backfield. I thought there's been a big challenge with those guys, and Jarian, it's been a unique year for him. Being injured for all of fall camp, really just his first availability was the week of Notre Dame, and even with that being limited and what he could do. But it's just the things I just mentioned about each day and each rep, and making sure you focus on the little things and the things that you can actually control, and building upon that. And I think that defensive back group, they're embracing that at a much higher level. And you saw Jarvis Brownlee. I thought played one of his better games there against North Carolina. Jarian, the opportunities, and there were some challenges that he faced early in the season just from missed time. And I think it's a great example for him that the the development, the preparation, all those things, every rep matters. And when you miss that, it's hard to go out there and play to the best of your ability and as consistent as you can. But you see him starting to get into that rhythm. You see that confidence continuing to emerge. And so I'm excited about what the back half of the season can be for those guys if they'll maintain that mindset and that approach each and every day at practice. And because we need them to play big. And I thought they did a nice job of that. You see a young freshman like Kevin Knowles that started and had a very challenging task in our last game, but just how he was able to respond throughout, and I thought did some nice things. I mean that's got to carry over for all those guys in that defensive backfield and really throughout our team.
Go back to Ira.
You've got some guys, especially on defense, like Kalen and DJ and Sydney, and some guys who this is their first year as starters. Like, how much have you seen from them from week 1 or 2 to week 6, and I guess how important is it to be patient during some of those growing pains?
Well, I mean it's experience is something that you just have to be in it to get it. And so I mean there's always going to be some good and bad that goes with that. I think Kalen has played at a really high level, and this last week was kind of nursing a little bit of an injury, and you really didn't get as much in practice. But I mean to see the way that he was able to go out there and compete, I thought he played at a high level. DJ is continuing to grow, and you see his physicality, you see the toughness and the mindset which he brings. It's just the play in and play out consistency is something that he's continuing to grow and get better at. Amari Gaynor, those 3 guys there at that linebacker position have really been manning that spot, and I thought Amari played his best game there against North Carolina, and you look at even his career, starting off early in his career as more of a as a 200 pound outside backer, and now being a 230 pound inside backer, and just you see his confidence continuing to emerge. And there's some things even with him that there's some growing pains, and that he has kind of worked through. But I like the steps that I'm seeing with that group, and it's really not only just that position, but it's all positions. First time starters, guys that are having to go through a season. I know you mentioned Sydney. It's just that continued repetition and the confidence that's going to emerge through those experiences. Sometimes not always being a positive. I mean, I truly believe you can develop confidence, in how to respond to a situation after a shortcoming or getting beat on a play. As long as you're the awareness of why and how to get it fixed and to move forward with it, that provides you a great chance to improve.
Anything else? Go to Aslan.
Sorry, I asked the last question. I bring you up. Coach Andrew Parchment's a player that you, Coach Radu, has been really patient with and helping develop. With the clock though being what it is and having 6-7 games left, is there a challenge for him to kind of rise up here over the next 6 games? Have you seen a good response from him starting yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I thought last week. I mean, he understands what's in front of him, and for us, it's we're going to play the player. We're going to play the players that I believe give us the best opportunity to be successful, and the consistency in that performance in every way of knowing what you need to do, being the specific details of how to do it, and then the consistency in your performance and getting that done. I like the way that he's worked, and it's not just him. I mean, he's obviously there's a focal point to it with being a 1-year player. There has to be that sense of urgency, but I expect the same sense of urgency from the true freshman that comes in, because this is the opportunity you work for, and regardless of where you are in your career, I mean, today's what you can control, and if you want to play, you want to make an impact, and you got to go out there and you have to be consistent in what you're doing and continuing to invest. And then when that opportunity presents itself on Saturday, you've got to be prepared to capitalize on it. So he's a young man that needs to have a great second half of the season, and the opportunity's there for him.